We now move on to the next question. That is question number 3 that was posed by the Honorable Medupe. That the question deals with disaster management plans. Honorable Deputy President, your response to that question, please.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Let me begin by appreciating this important question by Honorable Medupe. Honorable members, as a country, we face significant risks from climate change, including extreme temperature changes, increased rainfall, floods, and threats to biodiversity and water resources. These natural disasters call for the creation of a climate-resilient and disaster management plans at all levels of government. Over the past few weeks, we have seen KwaZulu-Natal and Gauteng have been severely impacted by heavy rain or rainfall and flooding, causing significant damage to infrastructure, roads, households, and tragic loss of human life. While provincial and municipal disaster management teams continue to conduct rapid damage assessment to affected communities in order to determine the extent and magnitude of damages and further provide immediate relief to the needy, we have been advised that the KwaZulu-Natal provincial government has already initiated contingency plans to mitigate these and future disasters. These are driven by relevant line function departments in line with their different mandates. Government is also implementing strict measures to expedite the development of climate resilient and disaster management plans by municipalities, ensuring coordinated disaster response across all spheres of government. In this regard, the National Disaster Management Center, NDMC, develops, monitors, and regularly review disaster management plans in line with the Disaster Management Act of 2002. The Disaster Management Act mandates all government organs to create disaster management plans to prevent, mitigate, prepare for, and respond to and recover from disasters. These plans outline investments in line with change adaptation, including ecosystem and community-based approaches. In terms of a unified approach to disaster and preparedness by municipalities and districts, the National Disaster Management Center and provincial disaster management centers are required to develop plans to ensure risk mitigation, public safety, infrastructure resilience, resource allocation, coordination and communication, and public awareness and education. To date, a total of 175 management plans have been submitted to the National Disaster Management Center. We have also been advised that the KZN Provincial Disaster Management Center, PDMC, has provided technical support to 54 municipalities and 12 sector departments in KwaZulu-Natal to develop disaster management plans, thus ensuring coordinated planning and response to disasters. Chairperson, furthermore, the Department of Forestry, Fisheries and Environment is responsible for coordinating the creation of vulnerability assessment and climate change adaptation response plans for provincial and district municipalities. All 9 provinces and 44 district municipalities have already developed these plans, requiring resource mobilization from various sectors, including the South African Weather Service Forecast and the National Disaster Management Center's hazard profile. We encourage all organs of the state to develop these plans through engagement with all relevant stakeholders to align efforts and streamline responsibilities. In conclusion, Chairperson, however, these engagements must be supported by the development of memorandums of understanding to clarify the roles and responsibilities of the different arms of the states, departments at national, local, provincial, and local level. I thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honourable Deputy President. We move to the follow-up questions, and the first one will be from the Honourable Medupe.
Thank you very much, Honourable Deputy Chair. Madume Motlatsa Tautona ya Naga. Honourable Deputy President, it is very clear that climate change is altering the face of disaster risk in our country, not only through increased weather-related risk and sea level and temperature rises, but also through increase in societal vulnerabilities. For example, from stresses on water availability, agriculture, and ecosystems. My question is whether government has looked at ways of using reviews of national disaster management framework to move towards risk reduction and align the Sindai framework for disaster risk reduction to improve our national capabilities, particularly those of the municipalities, to respond more effectively to disaster, whilst also developing a national climate resilience and disaster management planning framework. So I move.
Thank you very much, Honourable Member. Honourable Deputy President, your response, please.
Thank you, Honourable Chairperson. Honourable Medupe, for that question. Yes, indeed, in 2015, the Sendai framework for disaster risk reduction was established to help government to reevaluate and has enhanced global management strategies. Where we are now, Honourable Medupe, we have, as a South African government, implemented the Disaster Management Act, which has then allowed us to set up the National Disaster Management Center, the one I just spoke about, the NDMC. And we have now rolled out that to provinces, where all provinces are required to have their provincial disaster management centers as well. And of course, this will then assist us to be able not to respond only adequately to disasters, but also to ensure that we can come up with preventative measures, because we think it's important that, because we are prone to disasters in many of our provinces now because of climate change, it's important that we focus on preparedness beyond just to ensure that we can respond when there are disasters. So a lot of focus is now put on preparedness to ensure that we can streamline our intervention, increase awareness before the disasters hit. So yes, Honourable Dupe, that has been done, and there is coordination now from the National Disaster Management Center with the provincial disaster management centers as well. They are all working together to ensure that we are well equipped and well prepared to deal with the disasters that we will be facing. Thank you very much, Honourable Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honourable Deputy President. We now move to the next follow-up question, and that comes from the Honourable Pinar.
Thank you, Chairperson. It's just a pity the Deputy President's not here so I can look him in the eye today. Deputy President, the district development model has failed, as is to be expected with any forced centralized system. When will you put an end to this experiment, or are you using the DDM model to regain control at those local municipalities where the ANC has lost a majority? Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honourable Pinar. Honourable Deputy President, your response.
Thank you very much, Honourable Chairperson. Honourable Pinar, what we are doing with the DDM is to ensure that we do what we call the whole of government approach. In other words, national government, provincial and local government work together to deal with the challenges that our communities are facing. So even with respect to disasters, we find it a very useful approach to use the DDM approach to deal with the issue of disasters. Somebody must mute. Yes,
our apologies for that, Honourable Deputy President. Could that Honourable Member please mute and remain muted? Please proceed, Honourable Deputy President.
Oh, Chairperson, I was saying to Honourable Pinar that where you have the national government, provincial and local government working together has proved to be very useful, because we pool our resources together, we create what we call one plan, and we then intervene and implement together. We think it's a very useful approach. So when you deal with disasters, in most cases, it will not be left only to a local municipality or even a province, but the national comes in to be able to deal with any kinds of disaster as well, because there's capacity at different levels. You may have a disaster in a local area, but there's no capacity there to intervene. So the DDM approach then becomes vital to ensure that we are able to deal with those challenges decisively. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honourable Deputy President. The next follow-up question is from the Honourable Chirwa Mpongose.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Chairperson. Deputy President, it has now become a yearly reality that as South Africans enter a change of season, they are often subjected to tragic but predictable natural disasters in the form of floods. However, recent floods in KZN and other parts of the country have revealed that disaster management is not geared or capacitated to respond to natural disasters. Our oversight visit in Northwest at Potchefstroom, for instance, has indicated that municipalities are not ready to respond to any natural disaster. And in light of this, what then urgent steps of intervention have you taken to ensure that municipalities have functional disaster management centers? And what are your plans to better improve, including additional resources and more advanced technology efforts for disaster centers to ensure the safety of our people? Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Honourable Chirwa Mpongose. Honourable Deputy President, your response.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Honourable Chirwa, as I indicated earlier, there are now more than 175 disaster management plans that have been submitted to the National Management Center, Disaster Management Center. And these are coming from all the local areas. So we are working with them. We are supporting the provincial disaster management centers so that they are able to assist local municipalities, because as you also know, and all of us know, that disasters always happen at the local level, but often there is no capacity there. So what we are doing now is to ensure that we bring to bear this capacity that is so needed to be able to deal with disasters, because the issue of climate change is so real now. So you are correct to say that we should be predicting this. It's no longer a question of thinking maybe there will be a disaster. I think now it's predictable, looking at climate change, that we need to be ready. Also, Honourable Chirwa, it's also important that government coordinates as a whole, bring other departments, your human settlements, because in some of areas you find that people build their homes or their houses on flat lines, and that should be avoided. So it's a question of government working together and ensuring that settlements are built in proper places, not in floodlines. Must not build settlements where people are vulnerable to strong winds and all these issues. So yes, I agree with you that we need to move fast with proper plans to ensure that we're not caught by surprise. Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy President. We now move to the next follow-up question, and that's from the Honorable Briet.
Thank you, Deputy Chair. Deputy President, I have to respectfully disagree with you. It doesn't help that we have plans and that we are looking at capacitating disaster management according to the DDM model, because we have disaster management centers in our districts and currently they are not working, even those that are capacitated. And an example of that is, and the worst time span was that the drought in the Free State in 2014, the funds for that was only paid out in 2019, 2020. That is 5-6 years later, which means that those farmers, those communities that were in dire need of disaster management and disaster management funding were helped after the fact, where many of those businesses had already closed down. So I would like to find out from you, how are you going to ensure that these disaster management centers effectively work and that we do not see disaster management centers only acting 6 years after the fact and our communities being at a risk once again? I thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Honorable Briet. Honorable Deputy President, your response, please.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. Honorable Briet, indeed, proper interventions require funding. What we are doing as national government, we are getting the National Disaster Management Center to be able to assist provinces, to be able to assist locals, to be able to intervene. So we are not just saying let's have plans, let's be prepared, but we must also be prepared to put resources to assist, particularly these municipalities that don't have resources to deal with these disasters. So we are factoring that in our plans. The question of funding is not just we making plans and say, okay, you local municipalities in rural areas and poor areas, you'll see to finish. We are supporting them, and we are going to make sure that this is properly coordinated. You remember I indicated that the Disaster Management Act of 2002 was put in place in order to ensure that the state at all levels coordinate their plans, but also that means the plans must be followed by resources to ensure that we can succeed in what we are doing. Because if we just have plans and we don't resource them, what you are observing will continue to happen, that these centers won't work, they are not able to intervene. So we are going to follow up. We are going to make sure that through the DDM model, we go down to those areas, we work with them, we help them so that those centers can work. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy President.